All right, what's up, everyone? I'm gonna jump into another weekly recap. This week has been a bit mixed as far as large cap, small cap trades. Small cap has slowed down quite a bit, which makes sense. You know, after August and early September, it was a super hot cycle for small caps, and you know where we were having multi-1,000% runners a day, and so now we're cooling off. It's slowed down quite a bit. I did have a couple trades there, but definitely a lot slower than it has been. Large cap has had some good opportunities as well. Finally getting a little bit of selling today on Friday, so hopefully we can get some continuation with that over the next week or two and finally get a decent pullback in the markets. It just seems like it's been so relentless. Every dip's getting bought and highs are getting bought, and it's been wild. So let's jump into it. This was the first trade of the week. Bit sloppy on this one. RDHL. This was a small cap play. You know what I look for. This was a day one gapper. So what we have was on this day here, right? So we look for these penny stocks, especially when you look back on the daily. This is just a pure dilution play, trending down. Every pop is a big sell day. So that was the idea on this day here. I don't remember what the news was. It was probably garbage though. And so I was looking to short it. Ideally, the best play on this was in the pre-market, but it was before I had settled into my desk and missed this turn up here. Because that would have been the best play, and played it into the market open and would have had a really good day on it. I missed that, so I took some weakness on it. On this opening range break through the low a day here, and it ended up getting rebitted and making a move back towards VWAP. This is kind of where I got a little sloppy here. I normally these VWAP plays can be good places to start a short, because they usually bounce into VWAP and then fail, like what it did. But since I was already in the position, I was playing a little bit more defense on it, and I added into it. Then it popped through VWAP and was looking pretty strong on the tape, so I cut, I think, half of it, and then I saw it fail. I added some more, and then I took another partial stop when it rebitted back above VWAP, because then at that point I thought it was going to push highs and then maybe make a stop, a run through highs there, a stop run. Ended up rejecting really hard, and we got a nice follow through on the play. In hindsight, I should have added through this area right here. This is like 245-ish. There was a bidder here, and when he finally went away, we got a nice flush through that, and then through low day, and then I started covering some. And then what I look for in these day one gappers is after about the first half hour, 45 minutes, volume should really start to die off, and that's what we started getting here, and it just kind of flatlined. I covered a little bit more, added some, and then we finally got the break through that low a day, and I covered most of my position into it. But that's what you want to see in these plays, is you want to see the volume really die off. That's showing you that the buyers aren't in, and shorts are just going to sit on this and let it fade off through the day. So that was our DHL. Start the day off, nice one. This was PayPal. I've been in this for a couple weeks. This was just showing some of my sells. We look at the daily here, and I was buying on this day on the weakness, and then I added a few times. I sold some puts, out of the puts on it now, and I was trimming on this day is what this is here. So I got some nice trims. Actually bought some more, I think on this day as it was coming back above. So I'm just gonna sit in this. I want to see this really, before I take any more trims, I want to see this break out of the zone it's been sitting in. But it's been doing really well, holding the lower end, and I think if we can get some multi-days over the moving averages, kind of let them creep up, I think we could see back above the 200 day and maybe get back into the mid 70s here and maybe into this gap. So we'll see how that plays out, but I still have not a full position, maybe half a position in it right now. If it sets up again, we get some tight consolidation, I would add to it as well, see if we can get some more upside to it. So that was PayPal. CoreWeave, this was just a simple opening range breakout. They had news, it was gapping up, and you can see that it was held the gap very well all morning, trending higher, putting in higher lows, and holding above VWAP. So when this opened up, If you've watched my opening range break little mini course, this is the exact play I'm looking for, a retested VWAP that's bought and then closes above the open of the candle. This one closed basically at the high of the 2-minute candle. I was buying on the open of the next one, and we started getting a push where I was trimming into. This was a bit of an aggressive ad here. I think in hindsight, probably what I should have done is waited for it to come and retest VWAP. It was right around my cost basis, could have got a good ad here. And if I remember correctly, it ended up getting, let me just pull this up. Yeah, so it ended up getting one more little push in there. This was the day I was buying it here. If I was adding here and then using the low day stop, I would have had a little bit more wiggle room to get back to the high day in this 142 push. But it ended up chopping around the rest of the day. So it's not like I left a lot of money on the table. But yeah, this is what I look for in these momentum plays. You get a news break, trending above VWAP, higher lows, just looking really good. And then you get the VWAP test out of the open and a close, a bullish candle on the 2-minute to buy through. So pretty easy money there. As CoreWeave, I believe a lot of people were in this as well in the room. So it was a good trade. Next was Zira. This was I messed this trade up. This was a really good, easy money short, and I think it ended up fading, giving back the entire move actually. But what I was doing here, I took the 1-minute turn on this because it was very linear, same as the 2-minute, and the 1-minute can be very noisy, and so I ended up stopping back through high of day. Then I tried on the 2-minute, and it did another run through high of day where I stopped out, and then at that point I was like, all right, maybe this thing's gonna consolidate and then make another leg higher. It just felt very trappy, and so I didn't take it again, and then of course it broke down and traded lower for a nice trade. Here you can see really got a nice flush that you could have made some good money on. So next time I'm just going to stick to the 2 and 5 minutes on these. The 1 minute's it's just too much noise and get false signals all the time. All right, so that was one of my stop outs. Lost some money on that one. SNDK, this was yesterday. This, I know you guys are probably sick of hearing about this one. It's been such a pain from our options standpoint, but I've been keeping it on the radar because eventually this thing's going to get a deeper pullback. It's been in outer space for like weeks now, just keeps going higher. So today, this is another setup I talked about. When I traded this, we had a gap up and it makes a strong move higher that rejects, gets back below VWAP and starts holding below. And this is where I was starting to short it, and then I added through a day, and we got some nice follow through where I was covering. Had to add here, had to add on VWAP, and then got some covers off as it kind of drifted in my favor. I did end up holding some of this overnight. Of course, we gapped up, and I ended up stopping out on the trailer, but would have been nice for some continuation. But it still remains strong, and I'm going to keep it on my radar and see if we can finally get a pullback maybe next week or so where we can get back into the moving average. Because if you look at this thing, what I'm noticing now is we're getting some divergence. So we had this huge push here. RSI was out in the mid 90s, and now we're making new highs, but the RSI is weakening. So we're getting divergence between price and the RSI. Usually when that happens, we'll get a pullback. How and when it will happen, who knows? And so it could be more of a headache. I'm going to keep it on watch and see if it gives us a better setup next week for a pullback into the moving averages. So that was SNDK. The options I was buying earlier, I don't know, last week, those are pretty much worthless now. That's kind of the risk, but day trading I've been doing pretty good with the equity side of it. So SNDK, this was the follow through that I was talking about. I actually added, this was today, so I added through the low of day, and then it broke back higher and stopped me out at the high of day. And obviously it was very strong. We have come back in quite a bit with the market selling off. So this is today's price action. Stopped me out here, made it up into the mid 130s, and then we kind of bled off with the market, tapped low a day, and then we kind of bounced off of that. So we'll see how it closes today. Maybe we'll get a weak close and then some follow through next week. All right, so that was the SNDK PLTR reversal. Traded a little bit of that this morning. One thing to mention about these large cap reversals is they do this so often. They'll put in this move, make like they're gonna have a turn, and then they do one more push lower before making the actual turn. And so that's when I was trading. I waited for this little turn here and got in, made some money on that, and then I stopped break even on it just because I didn't really trust this move. Large caps have been really tough with mean reversions lately, so I didn't give it to the low day, which is what I usually do. So anyways, it ended up bouncing back and hitting VWAP, and that's fine. Still made some bucks on it. So that was PLTR. TQQQ short. This was, I wasn't really planning on trying to short the Qs today. It just gave me a good setup where, we obviously have a clear line here at high day, and we pushed through and failed. And then on the next candle, we flushed below VWAP. That was my signal that this maybe wants to test low a day, maybe give a little bit more up. So I took a short here, risking high a day, added through low a day, and then we tapped into yesterday's close where I was covering some into that, and then we got a really nice flush where I covered most of the position. Had a bit of an aggressive add here to see if we got another leg lower. We got a little bit flush down into the 105.50s. I covered some more, the add backs here, and then I kept adding, seeing if we would get another leg, and we ended up getting a pop back. But with the ads, my cost basis had come down quite a bit, so I didn't want to give much back on the trade if the Qs got, have done what they've been doing in the past and rebid and headed back towards high day. So I took the balance off there at break even. But just a nice little short there. These are the little clues, stuff I'll look for. If buyers were in control, this would have broke high day and kept going, and it didn't. It rejected and then got back below VWAP and then made the move lower. So it was a good clue there on the rejection. All right, and then today, this afternoon, was just a little short here on DFLY. This daily is out of really crazy. I like a lot of stuff right now. But this being a small cap, I wanted to give this a try here. We had a big move, huge gap, and then a monster move today, which is what really got me interested in this move when I saw it hit the scanner. So what I was looking for here is we got another failed breakout. I was kind of just watching it to see if it would give me a signal, and this was the signal, same as the Qs, a failed breakout over highs, and then the really big seller stepped on this in the tape. The bid just started getting whacked hard, so I jumped in, and we got some really good follow through that I was covered into the next leg. We've got a little bounce here. I added back to my position once we started seeing some weakness again, and then covered a lot of it into VWAP here before stopping out once it reclaimed here in the 180s. So nice little cash flow trade here on DFLY. I did miss another one in the miss today, this SYTA. Cover these missed stops real quick first. Another just no news runner out of nowhere. These are usually really good fades, and you could have taken the turn on the 2 minute here, no problem, risking high days, and got a nice flush to make some easy money on. So these are the midday runners out of nowhere with no news are almost always really good shorts at some point. And that's what happened with SIDA. The other one was Acon. I missed this one. This was probably one of the best setups of the week. It was a little bit of a thinner name, so we got quite a few halts on this huge run up. But you could have taken this turn, would have gotten stopped, and then you take the next turn here and would have made a bundle. This gave up the entire move and some. This is a perfect example of a full round trip runner on no news. Just these types of plays can make your weeks, even months, if you're able to get involved. So I was a little bummed that I missed this one. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this thing on the daily, it's just all these big pop and drops. The daily is so telling on these names in small caps. I always go back and look at what it's done, how it trades on these pops, and you can see that this thing has almost always had big rejections. So you can see this one had a huge run up, gave up the whole move, and now it's trading lower. So that was probably the biggest miss for me in the last couple of weeks. All right, so let's go over some of the other trades. Target, I know talked about this one last week. This had rumors of a private equity takeover candidate. We got some volume, popped it up. What I really liked about this is it's a beatdown name. We got a little bit of positive news on it, but the weekly was really clean. So we've had a very steady sell for the last month or so, and we finally got a turn on the weekly. We'll see how it closes. I've been kind of trading around. I trimmed some into this pop, and then I haven't added any back. I think I'm going to wait for next week. If we can get above this area here, like 90.50, let's call it, I'll look to add to the position and see if we can get a push up into like the mid 90s or so. So that was target. And then some of the other ones I traded were mostly short puts. I sold some on SMCI when it was breaking through this level. I wish I would have bought some equity. I didn't realize this was going to be such a big move, but it ended up playing out well. And you can just see when there's such a clean line in the sand for a breakout, almost always you'll get at least a test or a breakthrough, and then where you can try and take advantage of. Obviously, we got some huge follow through, really good volume on this. I'm going to still keep this on my radar for the next week or two to see if this wants to consolidate, maybe come back, test the 10-day. That could be a good area to get involved, see if this wants to make another leg higher after some consolidation. But just a really clean breakout move here into the big gap fill. The other one was AMD. This was another really clean line in the sand play here. We're putting in higher lows. Finally got the breakthrough and had some good follow through. I was actually selling puts on this day, kind of front running the breakout. And the idea was on this day, if it would have opened, below the breakout zone, I would have been buying shares through the breakout. But we ended up having a really big gap, so I just closed about 3/4 of the puts at the open, and then I sold the rest today. And looks like it was a good sell because now we rejected back into the level. If this can hold and consolidate above, maybe it'll be similar to SMCI where we can get another leg higher. So yeah, I'll keep that on watch as well. And then the last one was just that nail that I sold some puts last week, and finally getting some good follow through. I'm all out of this one as well. The puts were like, I don't know, 80% eroded, so wasn't much left to get out of them. But just nice play. I like the home builders in general with the overall markets. You had some big players buying like Berkshire, where they were buying DHI and some of the other home builders. And so I was just looking to play a bounce on this pull in here, which ended up playing out pretty nice. So that's really it for me this week. Next week, we'll see what the market wants to do. Obviously, we already bounced back a lot of the sell-off that we just had, and that's just kind of been the theme lately. Dips have been bought aggressively, and we're well off lows now. So we'll see what next week has for us. We do have the big tech conference going on, so that should get some movers, create some opportunities for us next week. All right, so that's what I got for you. I will catch you guys on Monday morning.